So this is the WNBA draft right here, and I'm going to be doing a mock draft today after the official draft was announced like 2 weeks ago. The official draft was quite a while ago, and the reason today I am doing a mock draft basically is because, well, I haven't done one since the lottery, and the last mock draft I had, I'm like pretty sure I had, what's their names? I had like at number 1, I had the Mystics. The Mystics won in the tankathon thing that I did. But anyway, today we are going to be talking about the old WNBA draft. So we have got the first round here of 12 picks. And with the first pick in the WNBA mock draft, or in first pick of the draft, the Dallas Wings obviously select Paige Bueckers. So there's more and more talk about Paige Bueckers, like almost being, there's rumors she's being like talked into by the Players Association to refuse. Like there's talk that she's being almost told by people in the WNBA refuse to go to Dallas because they're trying to get rid of the draft and all, and if she refuses, it might do that. She could probably be convinced to do that, to be honest. Either way, though, Paige Bueckers has been one of the best players in college this year, and she's just such an efficient guard. If she can get even a little bit of that flair, she's going to be really, really good. If you can get some of that flair back from high school. Either way, though, I'm a huge fan of Paige. I think she's going to be a star in the WNBA. I'm not going to go all the way and say superstar because I don't think her game is exciting enough to be a superstar. I think she's a good enough player to be one. I don't think her game has enough of a wow factor to be like an out-and-out superstar. But at the same time, you never know. Like some people could very well gravitate towards it better than I thought. But either way, Paige Bueckers is in here as the numero uno pick in this draft. With the second pick, I'm sorry, Chicago Sky, Olivia Miles is going number 2. First of all, from a positional standpoint, the Sparks need a point guard more than they need a big, and also Kiki Iriafen is pulling a Hailey Van Lith, as in she transferred to just the wrong school, and it's not working out well for her at all. It's really not working out well for her at all, and it's just the unfortunate truth of it all that Olivia Miles is almost certainly going to, unless she forgets how to shoot again, if she can be a plus 30% shooter, she's going number 2. She's that good a passer. She's that good a floor general. If she can, she's putting up 18 a game. She's exceptional. Like absolutely, absolutely exceptional. And there's no question about it. At this point, she's going number 2. And I'm making this pick for the Chicago Sky, assuming they keep their pick. My theory is that they're going to look to trade down with the Valkyries, because the Valkyries are going to want that statement rookie. And with Kiki Iriafen still on the board, even if she doesn't have a great end to her college career, I still think that's a big name. But assuming Chicago keep their pick, with the third pick in the draft, the Chicago Sky select Ayanna Patterson. The Chicago Sky want a wing. They want shooting. What is better than a 6'4" wing who is 18 years old? Or is she? Has she turned 19? Has Ayanna Patterson turned 19 at this stage? Ayanna Patterson turned 19 5 days ago. What is better than a 19-year-old who will be 19 in their rookie season and after 3 years are still going to be 22 years old? She could have 4 WNBA seasons under her belt and she'll still be younger than people that will be in the 2029 draft class with the way things are going. And you've got this young player that you can develop, you can keep over in Chicago. I think, can she come over next year? She might be playing in France, actually. She is playing in France, but whether or not she can come over next year because of prioritization rules, I think those rules are going to be completely scrapped by 2026. And even if she does take a year to come over in 2026, rumor is she wants to come over. She's not going to stay in Europe. The money's going to be there. And we've seen how great Leonie Fibic has been for the New York Liberty. Like the perfect player for Chicago, ironically, would be Leonie Fibic. But like they obviously had her. They got rid of her. They're not going to players like Fibic don't grow on trees, but ironically, there is one in Ayanna Patterson in this draft who, if they can get, they might end up taking her as high as number 3. The only reason I think she could drop is because of prioritization rules, but you just never know with some of these players. At the number 4 pick, the Washington Mystics select Janah Barker. The Mystics don't need a power forward. You've got Aaliyah Edwards. You've got Shakira Austin. You don't want to get rid of them. And then you've got Emily Engstler playing this like weird She's no longer a wing. She's like a small ball center. Like the way Emily Engsler's been playing is great. It depends on who they lose in the expansion draft, but they're not losing Aaliyah Edwards. They're not losing Shakira Austin. And they're going to be their cornerstone as starters. If they lose Steph Dolson, I would like to see Edwards trying to play with Shakira Austin. One of them's got to develop a bit more of a jump shot, but like that's their 4-5. They got their 4-5 sorted. And then you've got Janah Barker, who is a big 6'4", super, super high potential 3-4 hybrid who can play at the 4, who can play at the 3. You're looking at a player who's a 6'4" guard, who's got a high motor, plays defense, makes good decisions, moves extremely fluidly. Is she the best player now? No. Is she a project player? Yeah. Is she going to be an all-rookie team player? Probably not. Is she going to even start on the Mystics next year? Probably not. But like, her ceiling is so high. And I do think for the way the WNBA is going, she fits better than a Kiki. And with the number 5 pick, we have got Kiki Iriafen. She is struggling a bit, but I think if you're the Valkyries, you're going to look for a big name. She's from Cali. She played in Stanford. Realistically, her going to USC does not seem to be the greatest thing. USC do not look like a great team. I know they beat Seton Hall yesterday. They still don't look very good. Like, they're ranked 6 in the nation. They are not a top 10 team in the country because Kiki is just not playing up to what was expected of her. Like, they are blitzing teams, and she still, in a 30-point win, had 15 and 9 against Seton Hall. She struggled against Notre Dame. She's had some okay games. She's averaging 16 and 8, which is really not to be expected, and she's barely blocked a shot on the season. Her interior defense has not been good. There's no player at the top whose stock has probably taken more of a hit this year, outside of like, is it Rivers? Whoever the NC State player is, as Sanaya Rivers, her like NC State just sucked this year. Either way though, we're gonna have Kiki at number 5. At number 6, the Washington Mystics, who are on the board again, are gonna take Tahina Pow-Pow in the hopes of molding her into a point guard. I'm making this draft on the basis of, if you look at a lot of the new coaches that are coming into the W, a lot of them are coming from college, but a lot of them are coming from like a more modern philosophy of basketball. And while, yeah, there are not that many big point guards in college basketball, I do see the 5'6" point guards. I don't have a single 5'6" point guard that's not like, well, I do in the first round, but like I have a 5'6" combo guard in the first round. I don't have one of these 5'6", Rory Harm to an extent, but Georgia Amore type point guards in that high in this draft. But I do think Pow-Pow's ability to play on the ball, her ability to play off the ball, her ability to shoot the ball is really good. We're seeing her really play well for South Carolina. And look, I still don't think South Carolina win it all, but we saw today that, yeah, they absolutely destroyed Iowa State, who, again, I don't think are a team that belong to be ranked as high as, who should be ranked as high as they are. But that doesn't mean South Carolina didn't absolutely destroy them. And I think Pow-Pow is one of those players that's going up the draft boards because you know what you're going to get from her. You know she's going to be a more than solid shooter. She's going to be a reliable set of hands from day one, a plus defender. And at number 6, I don't think is a bad pick from her for Washington. If she falls to 7, I think New York probably take her, honestly, rather than going with who everyone thinks is the obvious pick in Dominique Malonga, the long-term contingency plan to Jonquil. The New York Liberty can send someone to France for a couple of years, develop. She is not ready to play in the W. But then again, neither were some players like Ezi Magbagor when they first came over. She's somebody that you let her play overseas for a couple of years. Let her play, like Jonquil's 30. You let her play 2 more years. You bring her over in 2027 because she is 18 years old. Or maybe she turned 19 the last 2 weeks. She's either 18 or 19 years old. If you draft her next year and you bring her over in 2027, she's still going to be the same age as rookies in the 2027 class, except I think she would be a top recruit. And you don't need to waste a draft pick on somebody that's not going to play too much. She's got the athleticism, she's got the size, she's got the length, she's got the feel for the game. Her hands are just bad. She's bad at catching the ball. And that's something that she does need to improve upon. But if she can, she could be the long-term contingency to Jonquil. If I was New York, my goal would be draft her in 2025, have her play in Europe for 2 years, keep Jonquil, have her play with under John Quell as a backup for a year or two, and when John Quell's time, when she feels like it's time to pack it in and retire, then you go and bring Dominique Malonga in as your center, and you have your long-term contingency there. But anyway, yeah, she is going in there at number 7. With the number 8 pick, this is a tough one because Sonia Citron's available, and I don't know. It all depends on how Citron shoots for the year. And I know Citron's shown that she can't shoot. She's been shooting terribly this year. So I'm going to say Aneesah Morrow. Aneesah Morrow has been fantastic again for LSU. I think her lack of shooting, it means that it's hard to find a fit for her. Like she's averaging 13 rebounds per game. She's averaging 18 and 13 on the season. Again, the problem is that she is shooting 20% from 3. Like it's not good. It's really not good. And for me anyway, it's hard for her to be ranked because she doesn't fit in a lot of teams. Like a lot of teams cannot afford to have a non-shooter on the floor. A lot of people are talking about, oh, she's a like guard, she's 6'1". I don't care. Napheesa Collier is 6'1". Napheesa Collier is one of the best rebounders in W. The best rebounder in W was 6'3". An undersized center. Aneesah Morrow would be a 10 rebound a game player in the W. Aneesah Morrow would be, imagine if NaLyssa Smith just played hard all the time. Like imagine if NaLyssa Smith played harder than everybody else. Like we've seen it at times when NaLyssa Smith runs the floor. Like can you imagine especially if Aaliyah Boston is getting a bit of a 3-ball in her game? Because I like Aaliyah Boston as a face-up. I don't like Aaliyah Boston as a back to the basket, back someone down big. Can you imagine having Aneesah Morrow run the floor, catching Caitlin Clark's passes? Like, can you imagine her as an offensive and defensive rebounder for a team that really struggles rebounding? Those effort plays. Like, she is undersized, but she is an exceptionally good rebounder. I think her defensive versatility is what this team needs. And yes, Sonia Citron will be great, but that is dependent on you getting a Satu Sabally. Like, Sonia Citron is Lexi Hull. Is for me, probably better Lexi Hull. Whereas you've got a player who can come in at the 4, do all the dirty work, and be a 12 point per game, let's give her 8 points per game her first year. And she could average 8 and 10 her first year in the league. And she's somebody that plays hard, plays the game, like rebounds, plays defense, runs the floor, and is good scoring on the inside. I think she's somebody that could fit really, really well with Caitlin Clark. And you might be like if you keep NaLyssa Smith, she can't be on the floor at the same time as NaLyssa Smith and Aaliyah Boston. But if Aaliyah Boston's trying to spread out her game, you can go with a 4-out 1-in with her on the inside if you can play Aaliyah Boston a bit on the outside. And I'm confident that she could build up that 3-pointer to a 30%. Her mechanics look okay, especially with a WNBA practice schedule. I'm taking her at number 8 for Indiana. At number 9, now, this is the crazy one. If I'm looking at the Seattle Storm are probably going to lose Jewell Loyd. And this is a team with no firepower at all off the bench. Like, if you want to look at the Storm, you've lost your kind of backup point guard, but you didn't play her anyway. So the Seattle Storm had last year Sammy Whitcomb playing the 1 off the bench. Like, that was their squad. Realistically, Jewell Loyd is not going to be there. So you've got Nika Mule, who's gone. Gabby Williams, who's probably coming back. Jordan Horston, I think, is probably going to start. I reckon you're going to play Gabby at the 2. You're going to play Skylar at the 1. You're going to play Horston at the 3. Then you're going to have at the 4, Naka, and at the 5, Ezzy Magbagor. This team has no scoring whatsoever off the bench. And I think as the 6th man role, with the 9th pick, the Seattle Storm select Hailey Van Lith. And you might call me crazy, but look, if you would have told me a year ago Hailey Van Lith was going and I'd have her in a LSU instead of a TCU jersey, I did not bought that at a TCU. If you told me a year ago that Hailey Van Lith was going to be a first-round pick, everyone would have said, yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. She was expected to be a first-round pick. And Hailey Van Lith's having one of her best seasons of college basketball, playing for the ranked TCU. And where TCU ranked? 15 at the minute? The 17 ranked TCU averaging 19.2 points and 7 assists per game and 6 rebounds per game. Is she shooting the best? No, but she can get a bucket. She's a bucket getter. She is a playmaker. She's somebody that can come in and be that sixth woman role and we've seen like that role not really be taken advantage of. Those like bucket getter combo guards need the ball to score but can come off the bench and give you a spark. I think she does that better than anyone else in this draft. And it might be crazy, but at the number 9 pick, I think they go and take Hailey Van Lith. With the number 10 pick, the Chicago Sky select Azzi Fudd. So there is one really, really obvious pick right here for the Sky. And again, I think if Azzi Fudd, like she looked good yesterday, if she ends up being healthy, I think Fudd goes in the first round. If she's not healthy, she could drop. And Sonia Citron could be picked right here. But I do think Azzi Fudd, bigger name, is going to not necessarily put butts in seats, but people know who she is. She can shoot the lights out. And she hasn't played enough to go on a shooting slump, but she's not having the slump that Sonia Citron's having right now. But she's UConn, and there's obviously the UConn tax where you get drafted way higher than you should just because you go to UConn. And I do think if she's anyway decent, she's not falling out of first round. She went to UConn. At the number 11 pick in what is going to be the steal of the draft, the rich get richer, the Minnesota Lynx select Sonia Citron. The Minnesota Lynx select Bridget Carleton reincarnation. The Lynx get better in the draft. The Lynx literally now have, they're not going to lose Chechi Zandalasini. They've now got Sonia Citron. They're going to have Sonia Citron, Chechi Zandalasini coming off the bench. And you might be saying, oh, they should try to get like a Georgia Amore or something as a backup point guard. Screw that. You can find a point guard somewhere else. Keep Natisha Heidemann. I don't really know. You can find a point guard. What you can't find is 6'1" length, defense, and shooting. It's going to be really, really difficult for them to find somebody better than Sonia Citron. And if Sonia Citron falls to 11 to the Lynx, just send them back to the finals. And with the 12th pick, the Mercury need a lot. The Mercury need point guard. They need so much. Like their team last year, they barely had players last year. But what they really do need is they need some size. And the Phoenix Mercury, I don't really care about like purely basketball related issues. If the off the court stuff, whatever, like if that's a factor, it's a factor. And I don't know, like in fairness, it's not the greatest look for the Mercury because of all the off the court stuff, but I don't think the Mercury care. Sedona Prince. Like, yes. Is she old? Yes. Is she older than Leonie Fiebich and Kate Martin? Yes. Is she 2 years older than Caitlin Clark? Yes. Is she nearly 2 years older than Paige Bueckers? Yeah. She is a 6'7" center who's averaging 20 and 10. She is one of the best bigs in college basketball. She is someone that is, her and Lauren Betts are the two best bigs in college basketball. She is going to be a really, really good player in the W, and she's going to be a good player straight away. I don't see a scenario where she's not a first round pick, and I think the Mercury are going to, again, have a contingency plan from Brittany Griner with a 6'7" center in Sedona Prince. So yeah, that is my mock draft. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.